What's up everyone, it's me again, TechDoff, and in today's video I am going to unbox and review the Lian Strimer. I think it's supposed to be Streamer, but it's spelled Strimer, so I'm just going to call it the Strimer. It comes in both a 24-pin option, which I have up here, and a dual 8-pin option, which I have down here. And if you're wondering how much these cost, what I paid at least, I paid $35 for this guy up here on Amazon. I will have a link in the description. And I paid about $30 for the dual 8-pin down here. So I figured we'd start with looking through their website and kind of give you my first impressions when I first heard about this product. So we'll head over there first. So as you can see, when I first checked these things out, they didn't really instill too much confidence in the quality of the product or just the support I'd get after I bought it, to be honest with you. I'm a believer now, and I'll tell you why. But in case you're wondering what these are, basically they're just RGB cable extensions for your motherboard 24-pin cable and your graphics card 8-pin cable. These can be controlled two ways. One, with an included controller, or two, with your motherboard with a 5-volt 3-pin RGB motherboard header. Although it is important to say, and a lot of people on Amazon have been saying this many times, but somehow people still don't read it, the controller only comes with the 24-pin cable. So there's no way to get the 8-pin cables with the controller without buying the 24-pin cable. It's kind of hard for you to see here, but it says here in yellow that the 24-pin is listed at 200 millimeters long and the 8-pin is 300 millimeters long. So should be long enough to get to your back of your case, your motherboard tray, but sometimes it's not, so keep that in mind as well. And what is important to notice is that these can actually be daisy chained to each other. We'll go ahead and take these out of the box and see what they got inside, and I'll tell you guys what I like, then what I don't like, and leave you with some final thoughts. So let's go. Okay, so we'll start with the 24-pin here. Just comes in a pretty simple box. Computex 2018. I remember seeing this covered plenty. I'm sure you guys do too, but pretty simple box. Looks like you got instructions here. And I'll hold it up to you. It looks pretty terrible though, to be honest with you. Pretty bad instructions, to be honest with you. I'll probably just have to YouTube a video to figure out how to install these, but it's a little bag with some cables and the controller, looks like. And I did open this before, that's why this is open. This was not like this, but I just wanted to, I couldn't wait to take a look at it. But this is the fiber optic cable part with your connectors here. And as you can see, there are two connectors, a male and a female end. So you can, like I said before, daisy chain. I'll put the 8-pin into this end and then this end into the controller. So that way I can have both of them together. And this is the cable itself. Let's open this guy up here. Not an expert unboxer by any means, so bear with me here for a second. Nice and gently. Jeez, cable combs are sticking on the plastic. There we go. Okay. So here's your cable combs. In theory, I'm not going to do it right now, but you just take this guy here and stick it on there and then stick it in your system. So when these light up, you're not going to see this cable underneath, just the fancy lights dancing across the top. So that's the concept of it. These cable combs look like they're built on, and you just kind of push these on there. The real trick, though, is going to be hiding this cable, so you probably want to put that on the back end, so you can just kind of put the cable right in your motherboard or whatever. But this is a stiff cable. Wow. Really stiff cable, so you probably want to push these aside and then kind of train it how you want it, because this thing is really stiff. So let's see what else we got in the box. I'll put that aside for now. Little Ziploc bag. What do we got? Trying to be gentle. This stuff looks delicate. Yeah, it looks kind of delicate. Okay, so this is the controller. So buttons are pretty tactile, which is nice. They're a little misaligned. Brightness, speed, mode. Pretty simple. Hold that up so you guys can see. Brightness, speed, mode. It's just a PCI slot. And your connectors. So one of these is, I assume, SATA. It looks like the 2-pin. So your SATA cable, which is actually braided, which is pretty nice, would go into this end, would go into here. And then you power it with SATA. And then this cable here goes into here. And then this would go into your daisy-chained Strimer lights. So this end goes here. This end, Strimer lights. Pretty simple. All right, guys, now that we got the 24-pin open and I got to show you the controller for a little bit, let's go through the 8-pin. So same type of deal with the box. Just kind of, this box doesn't want to stay open. There we go. Same type of lousy instructions, looks like. Tool, I didn't get a tool. Pause the video if you want to check it, but I do recommend just YouTubing a video if you are going to pick this thing up and do it that way. And here it explains the daisy chaining. Remember, there's no controller in the 8-pin, like I said before. You must get the 24-pin to get the controller. If you're going to use your motherboard, you're okay, but you are going to need some type of motherboard adapter to change this connector here into a 3-pin motherboard cable. And those are available on Amazon for pretty cheap, so that wouldn't be an issue. But if you're going to use a controller like me, I needed to get the 24-pin, but I was going to get it anyway, so throw that aside. Let's see what we got. Oh, similar type of deal. So let's see if I can open this kind of carefully. This is kind of the delicate part here, I think. The optic cables. Well, it's not that I can't open it, I just want to be careful with this thing. There we go. Especially with these things, you want to be delicate with these. But here you go. See if I can get that undone. There we go. Let's get this out of the way for a second. All right, so again, same type of deal. It might be easier if I get this guy out first, actually. But same type of deal. You're just gonna train these guys first, presumably, and then stick these guys on top of here, and then when you bend it, these will be facing the outside of your case, so you can actually see what they look like. But here's the actual cable. This is what I was really curious about, but oh, I guess these aren't. Oh, yes, they are. Okay, I was looking at the wrong end. My apologies. So if you do have like an 8-pin and a 6-pin, you'll still be able to use it, but this can't not be attached, so you probably have to pull this off the comb and then just kind of let it hang off to the side. But these are 6+2, so if you have like an 8 and a 6, or 2 6s, or in my case 2 8s, you're fine. Or if you just have 1 pin, unfortunately, these cables are held together from here, this comb down. So I guess you could slide this comb and split it apart more and just kind of hide this one somewhere in your case. There is no way to just, at least that I can see, to just use one of these cables if you just have a single 8-pin or 6-pin. So you might have to get creative with how you lay that out. And of course they're hardwired pretty much here, so you can't really only use half of these cables either. So probably recommended to use if you have at least 2 pins, 8 or 6. But same type of deal. You move these combs down and kind of train these. They're still really stiff. Get them in the right shape depending on your case, and then presumably you stick these on afterwards so that you don't want to get too crazy with these things. They're just like plastic. They're not like glass or anything. They're just plastic, but they feel a little bit delicate, so I'd be careful with that. But and same type of deal, like I said in the instructions, you have your female and your male end. You want to daisy chain these into your controller, or daisy chain them into your motherboard as well. That is an option. So that's all. Oh, there is something else here. I apologize. Oh, this is the tool they were pointing out. This could probably work for the 24 pin too. If you look up here, it says tool to help you clip these into here. You can just kind of push them in, or you can probably use your fingernail too, which is probably what I'll do, but it's kind of hard to understand the instructions, but it looks like they want you to slide these over and adjust them, but I'm sure YouTube will be my best friend with these because I really don't want to mess these up. So, okay guys, so by the time I'm filming this part of the video, the Strimers are already in my system, so I'll show you some footage of that and how they look with the different effects and those kinds of things. But I just wanted to tell you guys, now that they're installed and now that they're running, what I like about these and what I don't like about these, and whether I think, based on your circumstance, these would be a good fit for you. To start with, what I do like, number one is the price. And I remember watching plenty of other tech YouTubers covering these at Computex back in 2018. They looked really, really cool and I really wanted them, but I expected, since they didn't really announce a price at the time, I expected they'd be like $70 each. I've actually been pleasantly surprised. I only paid less than that for both of them, $30 and $35. I am happy with the price, and another thing that I'm really, really happy with is the lighting effects. And I do want to say this, the lighting effects that the controller has are not the same as what you can do from your motherboard software, at least from what I've read. Whether you use MSI Mystic Light, Asus Aura, Gigabyte Fusion, I don't believe they have the same effects available to them as the controller does. And me personally, I actually like the controller effects better. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube you can check out if you're curious about them. I really, really like the lighting effects. I think they did that right. And another thing that I really like is the brightness. And let me just say it straight out, these are really, really bright. And I think these would look great in just about any system. Even if you have to get a little creative and split those two GPU cables apart, I really think you'd be happy with these. And another thing that I really enjoy is that these are unique. And when I say unique, I mean, I can't really think of any other product similar to these, except maybe RGB cable combs, but I don't think anyone's actually done the cables RGB yet, or tried to. Maybe they did try, but these are unique, and definitely whenever I have friends over or family over, they always ask, what the heck is that thing? So little self-satisfaction there, but those are pretty much the main things that I do like. So now I want to tell you guys some of the things that I don't like, and yeah, there are some things, so stick around. All right, so now I told you at least the main things that I like. There are a couple things that I really don't like. I'll be completely honest with you. The first and probably the biggest thing that I don't like is the controller. It's big, it's clunky, it really doesn't look good in a PCI slot. I wish it was more like a Commander Pro or my NZXT RGB controller that I showed you in my last video that actually is stored out of sight behind the motherboard tray as opposed to in the side panel where you can see it. Yeah, I know it'd be harder to change the color effects, but at least it would look better. So I wish it wasn't a PCI slot, essentially, is my biggest gripe with it. And with that comes another disadvantage, which means you have to reach behind the case to actually change the effects, which gets really annoying really fast, especially if you like to store your PC out of the way or in another room or something like that, or in a hard to reach place. That can be kind of a pain if you're using the controller, so keep that in mind. And another big one, which doesn't affect me yet, but I'm sure will, is there's actually, if you noticed when I showed you the controller, there's no way to turn the lights off unless you turn your entire system off. There's no simple on-off button. If you're someone like me, when you're doing schoolwork or something, it may get annoying eventually, so I may have to just unplug them or something, we'll see. But they're a hell of a lot of fun to look at right now, that's for sure. And another thing I don't like is the instructions. The instructions just straight up stink. It's one page, it's pictures, no words. So I essentially just had a YouTube, and Lian Li actually does have a good video on YouTube about how to assemble it. So they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and it really is in this case. And if you remember from a second ago when I showed you the instructions, there is a QR code too, so you can just scan that and it'll pull up the YouTube video. So please use that. Don't try and figure it out yourself. These things are too expensive to take risks like that. So. And another thing that it's not really about the thing specifically, but it just took me a while to set it up. Like I said, the cable's pretty stiff and it does take quite a bit of time to train it just to the right angle that you want. And from what I've read on many Amazon reviews, they all say to be patient when you do this. Don't try and just bend it hard and then stick it in there, because you'll probably end up breaking something. You just have to be patient, do it slow, and get it in the right shape, and be patient. All caps, please be patient when you set this up. And finally, I didn't really care for the build quality. It feels pretty fragile, the optic cables. That may just be the nature of the beast, I don't know. But I was actually almost afraid to bend them and even touch the fiber cable when I first got them, just because they feel so delicate. But you got to keep in mind, you got to bend the actual cable first and then put it on top, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but that's the gist I got from the video. So use the video if you buy this. Don't forget. So that's pretty much all that I didn't really like about it. Not much. Overall, though, to leave you with some final thoughts here. Relatively speaking, this is a pretty inexpensive way to add some flair to your system. And like I said before, it's unique. And if you want to show your family and friends your gaming computer or whatever you want to call it, it satisfies the stereotype about PC gamers, that's for sure. But it's a lot of fun to look at, and definitely recommend, and I'm sure you guys already know this, but if you can, use your motherboard to control this, not the controller, because the controller is just a big pain in the butt. You don't get as much control. So if you can, use your motherboard. And be patient, take your time. It's gonna look nice. It's gonna be done eventually. Just don't rush it, don't break it. And that's really about it, guys. As always, I'm really quick to answer any questions about this you might have, or if you want to see any more lighting effects that I might have left out. So please leave any questions or thoughts about this thing below, and I will answer them ASAP. And I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time. So see you guys. Peace.